If you want to support the channel, you can use code Tablemon to get 5% off at Potent Store for your online codes, 10% off for your sealed product at Flipside Gaming, and 20% off for your superfoods at Amaranthi. Or if you're looking to buy singles or sleeves, you can fill up your cart and close the tab, then click on the affiliate link in the description and check out. That way you can support the channel over at TCG Player, Card Market, and Dragon Shield. This video is sponsored by the Pokemon TCG deck building website PokemonCard.io. Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video here at Tablemon. Thanks so much for tuning in. So finally, right, it's pretty funny to be making this video after the last video I made of Amazing Rayquaza was me sharing how frustrated I was, how depressing it was to lose back-to-back win and ins, to face off against an Empoleon in every single game in a single round when they only played one, a very different tone. But then 2023 starts with a bang and I make top 8 again finally. Not only day 2 but also top 8. That was pretty cool because I hadn't made day 2 at a regional or international since my top 8 at Indianapolis back in May, I believe, of 2022. So a little over 7 months since last I made a day 2 and top 8. I also top 8'd the last San Diego regionals in early 2020, I believe, before everything got cancelled. I top 8'd that. So yeah, pretty happy, definitely pretty happy to start off 2023 with a top 8. Of course, not happy with how my match went, not only because of my very silly mistake towards the end. I was flustered. I was overwhelmed by how awkwardly I had drawn, the difficult choices from flower selecting, just like a very awkward, weird game, awkward prizes as well. The 6-1 was prized, and that was pretty brutal for the match, right, in general. So yeah, not ideal how the story ended. My first stream match was like a fairy tale come true, right? I also hadn't won on stream since like 5 years ago, I think. My last stream win might have been back in 2018, so almost five years in my last stream game. The last 3 times that I had been streamed, I had lost and then tied again. So a very good start to 2023. Definitely a whole different perspective, a little bit also like a load off my shoulders. My perfectionist, I put a lot of pressure on myself, and I like winning. Yeah, I like winning, I like competing, and I definitely don't like losing. So getting a lot of wins, getting all the way to top 8 was really cool. And also, like, when I was on my way to top 8, day 2 started off well. I finished it 1-7-1-1 for those of you who weren't aware, in 9th place going into day 2 with 22 match points. And given the size of the tournament, it meant that 34 points would probably be the bubble. Anything above that would be secure. And given how at LAIC there were 6 players with 34 points total, 3 of them made it in, 3 of them were left out of top 8. I expected something a little bit similar, or maybe more of the 34 pointers would make it in, but checking my resistance towards the end of round 14 and 15, I didn't think I had good enough resistance. But there were a lot of natural ties that happened in the last round of Swiss, which allowed all the 34s to actually make it into top 8. So that was pretty cool. I was very surprised. I was 7th seed, and of course I played against Ren Shen with Arceus Duraludon, where I made the mistake of attaching 2 fighting energies to my Rayquaza instead of the 5th different energy psychic, which I did have in my deck, and I could have attached to deal the 400 damage. And in retrospect, I've been analyzing and thinking a lot about the match. I definitely think I played it poorly. Full disclaimer, Arceus Duraludon definitely did not take up a lot of my testing time going into the event. It was mostly focused on Lugia, other Lost Box decks, and Mew, and to an extent Regigigas. But definitely I did not give Arceus Duraludon enough respect, and I did not practice the matchup enough, and it ended up coming back to bite me a little. Of course, there's a finite amount of time that one can use for Pokemon and balance it with other activities. And Arceus Duraludon, grinding out the Arceus Duraludon matchup was not a top priority, and I just figured you just get one hit kills with the Rayquaza, and it's that simple. And it should be that simple. I feel like I overcomplicated it by trying to get fancy with Raikou, pressuring the bench, and having to damage things. Like, all I needed to do was be patient and build up to a right-hand escape rope, Mirage Gate, attach Goon, KO on one Duraludon, and then do it over again. At least in game 2, that's what I should have done. Also, attacking 4-5 energies was also a mistake. Should have dealt 320 damage to the Duraludon VMAX. They would have healed 30 damage, but they wouldn't have healed with Hyper Potion. And then I could have used Sableye to KO the benched Arceus, KO the active Duraludon. And this only matters if you watch the game. But I could have KO'd both of those Pokemon, drawn 5 prizes, unlocked the 6 Agoon, as long as it wasn't my last prize card, and then used my last right hand and my last Mirage Gate and my last Ordinary Rod to close out the game on a Duraludon and take it to game 3, right? And yeah, but I mean, I had a lot of time to think about that after the fact. But overall, very happy. Yeah, very happy with the result. I also now have 190 championship points, and since I'm from Latin America, I only need 250 championship points to qualify for Worlds. So Yokohama, the World Championships are looking way closer than before. I got more championship points at this event than in the 5 previous combined that I played. So very happy. It's also refreshing to my self-confidence, which was definitely a little bit shaky heading into the event. It got, like, I felt very good playing in Texas. I just felt like I got very, very unlucky with my last matchups. And funnily enough, I was 5-0-1 at this tournament, and in round 6 I got paired against Mackenzie Tran, who was the first seed going into top 8. And he was playing the deck, the Empoleon deck, the Arceus, Espion, Aerodactyl, Empoleon, with Flying Pikachu as well. And so round 7 starts, and I just need to win one more to make day 2. And he flips over Empoleon, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's happening again. I was like, what are the chances? So I lost that game, and then I still lost the second game. No, I won the second game, actually. He didn't start Napoleon. So I won the second game. I maneuvered pretty well around the Flying Pikachu. That's where 4 escape rope really makes a big difference. A lot of people have asked me why 4 escape rope and not a 2-2 split with escape rope and switch card. And 4 escape rope honestly has been MVP, and I feel like 4 escape rope is especially strong with Raikou. That's something that people underestimate from this list. The second Raikou puts in a lot of work. Just Raikou in general puts in a lot of work, and the escape rope is really good. And it can sometimes be as good as a boss's orders, honestly. That's one of the reasons why I also have it in there. Because you can only play one boss. You also need to call rest early. You need to Raihan sometimes. So escape rope can sometimes be as good as a boss. And it also promotes mistakes from opponents. I know I won one game at Texas at least, because my opponent made a mistake off of their promotion from escape rope. And I also won at least 3 games this weekend, because I played way more Pokemon this weekend, right, than at Texas. I won at least 3 games because I specifically had 4 escape rope. If I had 3 or 2, I would not have won those games. So definitely puts in a lot of work, which is really nice. And it's also great defense against Galarian Weezing and Flying Pikachu, of course. And even Ice Cube, right? It just makes those easier. And as long as you account for the escape rope and you know when to prioritize those, when to prioritize retreating, so you're attacking the active. There were some awkward instances where where playing escape rope could have been potentially hurtful, but it just meant I needed to readapt my win condition. It never actually, like, there might have been like 1 or 2 occasions where I wished the escape rope was instead a switch card. But I was very happy with 4 escape rope, and I would not change that from this deck in particular, right? Other lots of versions, that can be a different story, but for this one, felt pretty good. The whole deck list felt really good. The only thing I wish is I could find Color's Experiment earlier. Like, that's the only the only thing I wish I had more control over is finding that early 1 or 2 Color's Experiment. That completely defines how well you do or not. And like, one of my losses in day 2 When I was playing in table 1, I finally got to table 1, and I lost game 1 pretty quickly against Reggie's, and then in game 2, I had a chance to win, but I had used a single Colress until like turn 5 or something. The game was getting very close, and I played Colress, and in the top 5 cards were the other 3 Colress, because I had thinned so much at that point. And I'd never seen a Colress, just bad variance on my part at that point. But yeah, had a ton of fun at San Diego. I really appreciate all of you who watch and ask for a picture or a signature, share some words of support. I really do appreciate it. It means the world. You have no idea how much it means to me that people enjoy my content, enjoy watching, enjoy my rants, and are okay with me sometimes venting my true feelings, right? Because like sometimes I'm not super motivated, sometimes I'm very motivated. Definitely very happy with how the year started, and I'm definitely looking forward to Orlando Regionals, which is my next event. So if any of you are going, definitely will be seeing you there. Yeah. Now we do have Crown Zenith coming up this, I don't know if it's this week or the next. I'm actually not sure, but I'm very excited about that, featuring some new decks, some new exciting options for Lost Box as well, specifically the new tool that lets you take an extra prize card, then use a Magenta. The single prize of Magenta can also be of utility in these sort of decks. And I don't know if I'll stick with Rayquaza or not. I definitely feel the most comfortable with the Lost Zone engine, just because every other deck feels a little awkward in how it draws or how it I don't know, the consistency of a lot of decks to me looks very questionable. And like Lugia, I don't know. I feel like with this deck, because it's single prizes, I have a lot of comeback potential, and because I have Comphase and Oranguru and Radiant Greninja, I have a lot of ways to just like look at more cards, right? And get to that play that I want to make. Sometimes very costly, right? But I feel like it gives me a lot of options, because I can also just 1KO whatever the threat is, or start taking multiple prizes with Raikou and Sableye as well. Big shout out to Zigzagoon and Manaphy. They were probably the MVPs of the weekend by far, especially Manaphy. There was so much Reggie around, and against Lugia, like I just every single match against Lugia, I just played down Manaphy just to be extra careful against their own potential Raikou. I don't think any of the Lugias that I faced, or maybe one Lugia that I faced, because I did see Speed Energy. I never saw the Raikou, but I did see Speed Energy. But I always played down a Manaphy just in case. Because if at any point they get 2 prizes with Raikou and then they follow that up with a Stoutland, it's a really tough match to win. But if they cannot do that, you go 6-0 against Lugia. That was my final record against Lugia this weekend, was 6-0. So I was very happy facing Lugia. 12-1 in games as well. My only loss was a full dead draw. I started 2 Raikous, 4 energies, a switch, or like a escape rope, I mean. And then I topped it like energy and battle VIP path in turn 2 or something. And then I just scooped very quickly. That was my only loss to Lugia this past weekend. 12 games where I very convincingly beat Lugia in most of them. And I had some really close games, some games where I had to do like a lot of really cool plays, and the one game where my opponent could have tied instead of lost. So I made a mistake. I played an escape rope. I searched for an escape rope. No, I played an escape rope, which I shouldn't have. I just needed to right hand for a scoop up net so I could attack the active Lugia. But I mistakenly played the escape rope, and so my opponent sent the Lugia back, but I needed to attack the Lugia with Raikou because there was a Dunsparce in play. And I needed to not KO it, which was great. And I couldn't attack something else. Like I needed my damage to go to Lugia, or to put it at 240, it would have 40 HP left. Then there would be Dunsparce with 60 HP left. And then I would put 120 on the Archeops to put it at 30 HP left. And so that's 130 damage left to KO all 3 Pokemon. So I could have used Sableye plus Zigzagoon. But I played the escape rope mistakenly, like getting ahead of myself. And then he brought up Snorlax. And then I played the escape rope again. I searched for another escape rope and I played again, and he just like promoted Lugia again. If he had promoted any other Pokemon, well, I guess if he had promoted either Archeops or Lugia, I mean, I would have been fine. If they had promoted any other Pokemon, I would have lost the game right there. Like if they promoted any other Pokemon, I would have immediately scooped. But I wanted to see if they would make the mistake to correct my mistake, and they did. So there's a lot of convoluted plays that you can pull off with this deck, and that's what I love. Yeah, coming up with the plays. I definitely fell short on the Arceus Duraludon, and what I take away from that match is don't rush, right? Because I was flustered from game 1. I rushed in game 2. I made that silly mistake of attaching the extra fighting instead of the psychic to the Rayquaza, forgetting the fact that you need different energy types to do the extra damage. I never did 400 damage at any other point in the tournament, so that never came up. And every other time I attacked with 4 energies, they were all different. I just forgot in the heat of the moment. So what I take away from that match is I need to play a little bit more against the fringe decks. Don't just rely on playing against the top decks. But more importantly, my stamina. I could tell that I was very, very exhausted from playing this deck specifically for so many rounds. Yeah, it was 15 Swiss rounds plus the top 8 match. And I could tell by the end that I was floundering a little. I also didn't have a good night's sleep, not by choice. I just couldn't get really good sleep between Friday to Saturday, and then also Saturday to Sunday. So that didn't help my case. And like, it's not excuses, it's just factors that landed into me not coming up with the absolute best potential play in the heat of the moment in top 8 with all the pressure, wanting to do well, believing that I had a good matchup in top 8, which I do believe it's a very good matchup, and wanting to go all the way, right? Of course, I always want to go all the way and win every tournament I participate in. So that's notes for me to take, right? And if you watch the stream, you know I've been playing for over 20 years now, and I still have things to learn. Yeah, I still have things to learn. I still have things to work on, to actively improve upon. Yeah, there's never a point where you reach perfection in Pokemon. You never get to a point where day 2 happens automatically. You like misplays never happen. And yeah, so it's always important to look back on your performance, your results, and figure out where to improve, right? Where to improve for Orlando. So I know where I took my notes. And yeah, but overall, amazing time. The event was incredible. The people were incredible. The organizing was very good. Just sucks that there's so much time between rounds, but I think most of the time that can't be helped. It's not that they want to take long. It's just there's delays with deck checks. There's delays with just things that happen during a game that require long judge calls, and then time extensions, and then everything starts adding up. Sometimes even the stream, right? The stream has a long game. It eats up in the time. It also takes a little bit longer to set up, so the stream sometimes starts a little bit later than the normal round does, and if they get a judge call, a time extension, then it's a lot of things that can go wrong. So no fault at all for the organizers. There's just so many things that can go wrong that some are bound to go wrong, right? And some are bound to go right. And as the tournament progresses, it usually gets smoother and smoother over time, right? So yeah, very happy. Regular content will resume once Grand Zenith comes back online fully. Comes online fully. In the meantime, I'll be checking out the top 8 decks in the next video, including mine. I actually played the exact same 60 as the last regional I played in Texas. No changes. I did toy around with a lot of changes. I toyed around with Roxanne. I toyed around with Heavy Ball. And Heavy Ball is the one card that I would have loved to have throughout the tournament, mainly because when Manaphy was priced in the key matches, like, they go from winnable to a very difficult matchup like Reggie's, right? And if Zigzagoon is priced, then it can sometimes complicate some matchups. When Greninja is priced, sometimes your draw early on is not good enough. And when Oranguru is priced and you don't have that defense against Marnie to be able to keep putting the Raihans or the Colruses or the Key Energy or the Mirage Gate that you need at the top, that can also be problematic. So I do think the Hisuian Heavy Ball would be a good inclusion, but I generally have no clue what I would take out. I feel like having 2 Rayquaza, 2 Raikou, 2 Cramorant, 2 Sableye is absolutely perfect. The support Pokemon are perfect. Maybe 1 Energy. I was thinking of cutting the 3rd Lightning and the 3rd Grass and adding a 2nd Training Court, right, to sort of compensate for the energy loss, and also having an extra Stadium counter, which I also missed throughout the event, especially against Reggie's and their 4 Path to the Peaks, completely nullifying Radiant Greninja. But extra energy recovery is always welcome for sure. in the deck, right? Energy attachments can be so key. Energy management is one of the most important things out of this deck. Energy knowledge on your prizes and your loss zone and everything is also super key. So there's a lot of things that you need to process with this deck, and therefore that's maybe the change that I'll be toying with. Initially I thought taking out both of these, the third lightning and the third grass, for 2 training courts. That was the last minute change that I was thinking of doing. But I think if I did that, 1 heavy ball, 1 training court would be the way to go. But anyways, thank you so much for hearing my 20-minute podcast on San Diego Regionals. Let me know if you have any questions on the deck, and I'll be happy to share them. Thanks so much to everyone who showed up to support at San Diego and everyone who supported me on the stream as well. I appreciate the kind words. And also shout out to my haters who hate seeing me do well. It's always funny to see their comments on social media. And thanks so much. I'll catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.